Hello and welcome to the Gravel Ride podcast, where we go deep on the sport of gravel cycling through in-depth interviews with product designers, event organizers, and athletes who are pioneering the sport. I'm your host, Craig Dalton, a lifelong cyclist who discovered gravel cycling back in 2016 and made all the mistakes you don't need to make. I approach each episode as a beginner to unlock all the knowledge you need to become a great gravel cyclist. This week on the show, I want to introduce you to Ian Lopez de San Ramon, a 19-year-old from Sonoma County here in Northern California who got accepted to participate as a professional athlete in the Life Time Grand Prix series in 2023. As you'll see, this young athlete found his way to the bike not super early and didn't see remarkable results as a junior, in his own words. But yet over the last few years, he's really found his stride, cutting his teeth both on the Grasshopper series here in Northern California, as well as impressing Michael Marks when participating in the Belgian Waffle Ride series. As we enter the 2023 Grand Prix, I thought we'd take a chance and get to know Ian. I managed to catch Ian on his way home from a bike fit in Monterey, and so I had him over in the studio for a quick conversation. Before we jump in, I need to thank this week's sponsor, Logos Components. You may recall my episode with my co-host Randall Jacobs around the launch of Logos Components and the 3 new sets of carbon wheels that they're bringing to market. At the end of 2020, their 29er wheel set received Bikepacking.com's Gear of the Year award, which is pretty amazing. We've talked about the many details you need to look through and think about when purchasing a carbon wheel set, and I encourage you to reference that episode, whether you're looking at the Logos wheel sets or something else. Randall does an excellent job of breaking down from the rim to the hub to the spokes, all the things you should be considering and looking at as you match which wheel set is going to be right for the type of riding you do. If you're considering getting a new carbon wheel set this year, I encourage you to go check out logoscomponents.com. I'll put that link in the show notes. Logos offers 3 different wheel sizes, 700C, 650B, and 29er. I personally am rocking the 650Bs out of my garage. It's got an internal width of 28 millimeters, so you get that nice kind of C shape when you're running larger volume tires. Again, check them out at logoscomponents.com when you have a second. With that said, let's dive right into my conversation with Ian. Ian, welcome to the studio.
Thanks for making it happen. It was a little last minute.
Yeah, studio is a euphemism for the shed office in my backyard, but I appreciate you coming over, and it was actually pretty cool to see your bikes getting out of the car.
Yeah, you got a sweet setup here.
It was a shed that held the bikes, and then we hired a contractor to drywall it and put it all together. So it's kind of a COVID investment, I could have an office at home.
Nice. It looks legit. It looks well made.
And I got my bikes on the wall, so that's all right. Something to look at.
So
you're actually just coming off competing at Low Gap, right, in one of the Grasshoppers.
Yep.
How'd that go yesterday?
I made a lot of mistakes.
Yeah, let's talk about it a little bit.
So I went into the race and I was like, I kind of really want to win this race. It's kind of like my home race. And I know Pete's on good form and everybody there is like really fast. So I just decided like, I'm not usually not nervous for races, but I was actually nervous for Low Gap, which is weird. So I slept kind of weird. But started the race. It was like super hot on the first climb. And then I was thinking about what I did the night before the race. Mid-race for some reason, and then I was like, dude, I didn't charge my shifting. And then I look back and I see the blinking red light on the axis, and I'm like, dude, really, you forgot to charge your shifting? And so I think it was like halfway through the race, I roll up to the aid station, so the shifting died on this like cement climb, and then I roll into the aid station. I'm yelling, Blake, give me an Axis battery, Blake, which is like my friend, and like everyone from the shop I used to work for was there. And I was like, dude, I'm going to get so roasted about this later. People are going to this is going to be the story people are telling. And so they didn't have an Axis battery. Usually they have a pile of them. And they just sell them out and give them to you. I see my old Nike coach, Mike Warren is there. And I was like, Mike, I see you're here. Give me your Axis battery. And he's, no, man, I have to ride out of here. Come on. And then I was like, Mike, like, I'm racing. Give me your Axis battery. He's like, no. And so I got him, I spent like a minute and a half, arguing with him. And finally, I get his battery. And so I'm going, and he's like, dude, you're really stranding me out here. You owe me. And he was really mad. And so I took his battery. And then I'm still kind of working out a couple kinks on the new bike. And so I dropped my chain. lost some more time. But then I think my fitness is pretty good right now. So then I caught up to Lance, who was in, which I guess was like 4th place. And then we caught up to Tyler, which was 3rd place. And then we see Chris Blevins right down the road. And then I was like, yeah, okay. Maybe I'll send a little flyer at the end and try to get these 2 Legion crit sprinters. But I didn't really think I had a very good chance. And then half a mile from the finish, I flatted. And I was like my rear tire was kind of bouncy and I could feel the rim. And I was like, really? This is so stupid. So then Tyler went. He did 1,500 watts. And he got 3rd. And then I took Lance to the line. Like, I made him fight for it. But I got 5th. So
not a bad result. You would have thought with all that negotiating to try to get an access battery, you wouldn't even be part of the event.
It wasn't I didn't have very good luck that day. Like right after the race, me and like Stetna and a couple of people went and rode around, and then like we rode up the old low gap finish, and then like my friend Taj was like next to me, and then he like got too close and hit my rear brake or my front brake going like 20, and then I crashed and flooded my other tire on the front, and then I was always like lying on the ground with another flat tire like after the race, and I was like, what am I doing? So then like a truck with some logs came by, and then we put my bike in the back, and I held onto the back like a garbage man and rode 5 miles down the road on the back of this truck. And then I was just like so bummed, but whatever.
Not a terrible result, and best to get that bad luck out of the way this part of the season.
Something to improve on, and so we'll go from there and see what happens.
Let's take a step back and just understand, one, you're from Sonoma County in California, right?
Yeah.
And 2, you were the youngest person to get accepted in the Lifetime Grand Prix for 2023.
Yeah. Super excited on that.
And your age is?
I'm 19.
Okay. So at 19, how did you find the bike? Like, when did you find the bike originally, and what was your progression? Like, how does a 19-year-old find themselves with the capability and skill to race at a professional level on the gravel scene?
Yeah, honestly, I don't really know how I'm here. I started like actually kind of riding when I was like 3rd or 4th grade. Like me and my mom would kind of like, we're like, hey, we should start mountain biking. And so my aunt is a pro. She went to the Olympics like twice, I think. And so we always me and my sister kind of looked at it like, man, that's kind of cool. And then we just had some like really crappy like old bikes, and so we started kind of riding a little bit. And then there's like a local Wednesday night race called Dirt Crits, and then I had ridden like maybe like a total of like a couple days, like cumulatively like a 1 week, or not like 1 week, but you know what I'm saying, like 7 total days over like a couple months. And I was like, my friend invited me to this local race. I went, and I was like, man, that was pretty fun. And then like my sister came and showed up and watched, and she's like, nah, I'm never riding a bike like that. I'm never riding a bike. And then like I kind of just kept riding from there. And now my sister is racing cyclocross in Belgium, and I'm here in the Grand Prix. I don't know. I honestly don't know. Like,
I feel like we're missing a few pieces there. So then you sort of, you discover it through the local Dirt Crits series.
Like local Dirt Crits. And then I kind of slowly raced that whole series. And it was just like every Wednesday night you go, and it's just like juniors beat down. Like it's just like a fight with all the juniors. It was so fun. Yeah. And like the bike peddler, like they didn't put like the winner got like $150 gift card. It was like super cool.
Which seems huge at the time.
Yeah,
right?
And they'd take like these old like motorbike trophies, and it was awesome. And so yeah, I kind of just kept going through, and then my sister and I got a coach.
Did you get involved in the NICA scene?
Yeah, so we got involved in the NICA scene when I was in like 5th or 6th grade. I want to say like I started riding with them, and then like pretty quickly like I was always kind of riding with a varsity group. And so if you've been riding with a varsity group since you were in like 5th or 6th grade, once you're actually in the NICA varsity, it's a little bit weird.
But it must have been nice to have those older student athletes just kind of teaching you the ropes a little bit and showing you like, God, you're capable of riding a 35-mile mountain bike ride or whatever it was at the time.
Yeah, I mean, back in the day, we barely rode at all. 15 miles was like such a big day. It was good. We had a pretty strong scene, but it was like the people who were like a year or two older than me that were good. The people that were like older that were actually in were like, I feel like the level was a little different then. But yeah, it was super solid. We got to kind of ride like every Saturday. But from there, I don't know, we just kind of rode a lot. And then
as you were in high school competing in NICA mountain bike races.
Yeah, I actually, now I remember. So the point where it actually got serious was like, I think it was like 2016. We did like a couple of cyclocross races, and then we met this kid, Paul, and then his dad coached people, and then like his brother Gavin had been to like Europe as a pro, and then was kind of on the way out, and so then he just kind of like took us under his wing and was like, all right, I'm gonna coach you guys. And he was a super cool dude. He was like, well, he was like super religious, and he's like, well, I don't charge you guys anything for coaching, so I can say a prayer before the races. And he'd get you together, and he'd be like, God, he was an awesome guy. Love that guy. He got us pretty serious. He gave us cyclocross drills, and then we just like kind of kept going from there. It was weird. Like, I wasn't a very good junior. Like, I always followed exactly what the coach gave me, but it like was not working. And so it's really weird to say, but junior racing is a lot of who develops first. And so I was like super late. So I was going to these NICA races, and I was just getting like obliterated in every single race. And I was getting like super done with it. And I was like, I'm following all this coaching, like nothing's working. And then it was COVID year is when I think when I really got serious. It was like 3 years ago. And then I think back then I thought I had 3 months left of riding, and I was like, dude, I'm going to be done in 3 months. And I never really thought like I actually had a future as a pro. Like, I just thought you're not built for it. Yeah. And so I was like, all right, like I had a really bad relationship with my previous coach. I don't really want to like talk trash or anything, but then I just like switched coaches, and then it was like a couple months later, I was like, whoa, I'm like actually getting like faster, like really quick. And then it's just been like an up from there. And it honestly might be a good thing, because like it kind of kept me hungry, and I had no success. It obviously sucks to lose races, but if you're out there every single weekend just getting your face kicked in, like I feel like at some point you're gonna win, and hopefully that's this year.
Yeah, I mean that's part of the process, right? We all start out as the slowest person on the ride, and you get to the top of a climb, and you're the last person there, and everybody's ready to leave, and you keep doing that, you keep plugging away, and next thing you know, you're not the last person to arrive at the top of the climb. And I think that's the nature of developing as a cyclist. It's interesting in your case, like developing as a young cyclist and having to have that patience, and ultimately discovering like, hey, I actually am talented, even though I've been getting my teeth kicked in for a few years.
Yeah. And junior cycling is interesting. Like it's funny how like a result as a good junior can like really land you on a team, but it's also like those kids like long term might not be in the sport. And so once I kind of figured out like you actually could do, I kind of had the mentality like maybe I'm not the most like naturally talented, but I'll be there to take these kids sponsors once they burn out. Or it was kind of my joke. I don't want to say it like that, but I'll be there like to put in all the work, and then it's all the work you don't see. And I feel like a lot of people are kind of like, whoa, where did this Ian kid come out of? And the past 3 years, it's like I haven't missed a day of training without being like, oh, I'm sick or whatever.
So at a certain point, it sounds like in the last 3 years is really when you picked up road cycling and gravel cycling.
I would say like more 2 years for the road. I'm super green on the road. I think it helps that I'm naturally like fit. Like I have experience in the pack on gravel like a little bit, but I've just kind of been like I went to a couple South American like road tours and just threw myself in the deep end. Let's get some handling skills and let's go ride. And that's super fun, and I really had nothing to lose, and like people down there really had all to lose. Right. 'Cause like I was just some like random American kid no one had heard of, and then I was just down there having a good time.
Nice. And so as you thought about like where you wanted to go with your cycling, there's obviously going on the road, and there's sort of a process for ultimately getting into the world tour, and that may start with development teams, it may start with kind of going and finding your own opportunities in Europe. How were you thinking about what was going to be next for you as we came to 2023?
Yeah, I mean, like, are you asking about what my decision for?
Yeah, it sounds, in getting to know you a little bit, you did have an opportunity to kind of stake your claim and say, I'm going to kind of go down the road path full force. Yeah. Or there's this other opportunity to go gravel, and potentially there's another one where it's kind of a little bit of both.
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
It's hard. Like I there's not really a manual for how to do this, and I'm like super on the untraditional side of this. Like there's like the regular USAC development path where you kind of hop around the teams and then you race for the national team, and like I've never raced for the national team. I would love to, but I just haven't. And so I've kind of been like, I've been under the radar. And so, yeah, I like when I went to these South American road races, I got noticed by an agent, and he was like, yeah, I'll put you on a road team. So I sent him some power numbers, and he got me a spot on a team in the north of Spain. And so like the road scene there is, or the amateur road scene is what it was for. So it's like super high level races every weekend. They're very underrated, like very hard races. And so, yeah, I had an opportunity to go there. I was going to share an apartment with this like Costa Rican kid I met in Panama, and it was going to be pretty cool. And I was pretty decided I was doing that. And so, and then what happened was I had negotiated this guest ride spot to go to BWR Kansas and Big Sugar in Arkansas. And yeah, I just got picked up by the Mazda Lauf team, and I was just like the vibe of the team was really good, and I was like, man, you guys are making this decision a lot harder. And I literally had a decision to decide like that week.
And you had a successful gravel season last year in 2022, right?
Yeah, people say it was like this breakout season, but I mean, I didn't even have that crazy of results or anything. I just kind of like just put myself in as many races as I could. Like I basically had no sponsors. Sportful helped me out a little bit with some kits, and I just was like, all right, let's make a mark. And yeah, I just got myself, like I would see like where I had friends in the country and be like, all right, I'll go to that gravel race. I can stay at their house. And so,
and also probably fortunate that you've got the Grasshopper series in your backyard, so you can hit all those, which at this point, I mean, Mig's done such an amazing job with that series. They're both so much fun and so competitive that if you can get your name on the top step there for the series as you did, that's huge. Like people are going to take notice.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the series win wasn't that big of a deal last year. Like I was like, whatever. It's another series when I didn't actually win the race.
I have to hype you up as that is a big deal, winning the Grasshopper series. And why don't you talk about some of the other races that you did and how you performed at BWR?
So I switched to gravel as I was like, I'm traveling all over the country. And then I have this series in my backyard that's like world class. And so that's where my kind of switch to gravel came. And I was like, I always knew I wanted to do longer events, and I realized my power profile is more built for that. And so like I switched to that. I kind of started the year off with some Grasshoppers, and then I went to BWR San Diego, and I met Michael Marks, the kind of BWR founder. And the story is like I double flatted the first day. I like made it, like I closed this big old gap. I made it back to the front group. People were like, whoa, okay, who is this little kid in the group? And then I started like barfing at like hour 5 or 6 or something, and I was like gone, and I finished like 17th. So it wasn't like a super great day. And then I did the wafer the next day, and I was like, yeah, let's race the wafer. Like this will be super fun. And then it was in a front group, and then I hit a pothole going like 35, and no one had called it out in the group of 4 of us. I was holding on my water bottle, and I just yard sailed, and so I like cracked my bar. I was super scraped up. And so then Michael Marks picked me up off the road, and he was like, dude, Ian, like you were about to get second. And he was super bummed for me. And so I actually like, it was kind of it was kind of weird. Like that was a kind of pivotal moment in the season where I met him. We had a really great like connection. And so then we kind of drove around the rest of the day. I was like bleeding all over the inside of his Bronco. And yeah, like he kind of helped me. He was like, dude, you're really fast. He kind of helped me get to the rest of his races. And so then I did the BWR series, and then I finished 5th like overall. And so I didn't really think that was possible, but it was a pretty big result with having Stetina win, and then like Griffin and Brennan. So like it was kind of big names, and I was like, whoa, like I'm really standing on the podium with giants right now.
Yeah, that's huge. So then you decided, as you mentioned, you kind of made that connection with the Lauf Mazda team.
Yeah.
You got an opportunity to race with them as an option in 2023.
Yeah.
Did you decide to do that before you got accepted to the Grand Prix?
Yeah, I did kind of take that gamble because I was like, I mean, if I don't get in the Grand Prix, like everyone kept telling me I could get in, and I was like, I don't know. There's a chance I don't get in, and I was kind of planning on doing most of the races anyways. And maybe I probably wouldn't have done Unbound if I hadn't got in.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, obviously, like the Grand Prix creates a lot of structure to the season because you've got these 7 events, 6. You know, you get to drop whatever that you need to focus on. As you think, does that change your mentality going into the year, or do you and your coach have that kind of figured out? Like, how are you going to prepare for these different events?
I think we're going to play it and see how it starts out. And so, I don't know. I'll go into Sea Otter with pretty good form, hopefully, and then we'll see how it goes from there. I don't know. It doesn't really change anything. I think I find it, I can kind of race into form. And so I can, I basically was doing like last season, I think there was I had 6 consecutive race weekends, and it was just like Grasshopper, Nika race, other gravel race, Grasshopper, and it was just like back to back to back to back, and it I was sitting at 100. After Sea Otter, I came out of it with 150 CTL, and then I was like, I got one of the whatever Sea Otter sickness was going around that everyone had. I got something there, and I was so wiped out for Sea Otter last year. It was so bad, but yeah, I don't know. I'm excited for the season. I'm not going to put too much, it's the Grand Prix. I'm just going to treat it as another race.
Yeah, do your thing and be consistent along the way. It sounds like, given your background with the Nika mountain bike racing and obviously the gravel experience you have, it's not like a roadie going into the series being intimidated by, the mountain bike style racing, actual mountain bikes race you're going to do. Is there anything on the calendar that does seem intimidating in the Grand Prix to you?
Obviously Unbound, but honestly, I think Big Sugar is the one I'm the most apprehensive about, because this last year I went to Big Sugar and I got 6 flats, and I was just so done. So I finished the race. I don't even know why I finished the race. It's just part of. I don't really quit on races, but it was just so stupid. It was 17 miles in, I flatted it, and then I put all my CO2s and plugs in that tire, and then it was gone. And then I was whoa, and then I had a tube, and so I went to this Arkansas local's house. I knocked on his door and was yo, you got a pump? And so I rode up his driveway and everything. And so I went to his garage and I just tuned my bike up. We pumped up my tires. And so I had already lost 20 minutes in the first 17 miles of the race. And then it was just flat after flat after flat. And then it was so early in the race, no one was giving me tubes. So yeah, I was honestly a little bit, I'm honestly to really go back to Big Sugar. That's what I'm not looking forward to, but whatever. It'll be
maybe some tire inserts and some different tires for next year.
The bike I was running, I could only fit I was running 38s that measured 40s, and that was the biggest, and it was rub on the front derailleur, and there was rubbing on the frame, and so I'm totally maxed, and I was running 45 psi, which is everyone was well, Stetna told me, no wonder you flatted, you just bounced off the rocks, and I was come on, I was doing everything I can to not flat. But.
So this season, what is your equipment choice? What are you riding?
I'm on the Lauf Sigla. Yeah, it's a sweet bike. It's pretty light. Yeah, I have a couple different setups I can kind of run it at. But
yeah, having just helped you take it off your car, it's definitely a light rig.
Yeah,
it looked like it could take a bigger tire than what you were describing from last year.
You can put a 2.5 on it, and I'll just say I'm not going to be running that ever. But it's cool. I have mud clearance.
Yeah.
If Unbound gets muddy again.
I think pros these days, everybody likes to take a little bike packing trip, so maybe you can get some 2.5s.
Yeah, maybe I'll do that.
Is there any particular event in the Lifetime series or otherwise that you're very excited about for this year?
I would say Leadville. I kind of showed up last year, and I feel I kind of showed that I did have some potential to do a little better at that event, and so I'm excited for that one. I think that's probably that target one, maybe Crusher and the Tusher as well. I don't know. As I live at sea level, but I seem to actually like the altitude. I can adjust. I think I can adjust pretty quick.
And do you feel like the way you're built and the way you ride, would you categorize yourself as more of a climber?
Yeah, I still haven't hit those World Tour power numbers like the people in the series, but I would say I have the body type of a climber, and I'm on the way to developing the numbers as a climber.
Yeah. Nice. Well, it's going to be super exciting to see how you do. I am always rooting for the NorCal guys and girls to do well.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited.
I think we've got some of the best training in the world, and you're a product of that environment. Just all the great roads and great mountain bike trails you have up in Sonoma County.
Yeah, we definitely have it going on here. Like, yeah, I'm super excited.
Yeah, well, awesome. Well, thanks for coming over to the studio, and if I don't see you before, I'll see you down at Sea Otter.
Yeah, I'll see you there. Thank you.
Big thanks to Ian for stopping by and talking to us. I hope you enjoyed getting to know him, and you are as excited as I am to see how he fares throughout the year in the Life Time Grand Prix. As you guys know, I've got a strong bias to the Northern California athletes, so I'm super excited to see another one joining our strong contingent to compete throughout this gravel season. A big thanks goes out to our friends at Logos Components for sponsoring this episode. Make sure to check them out at logoscomponents.com. If you're interested in connecting with me, I encourage you to join the Ridership. That's www.theridership.com. That's a free global cycling community. If you're able to support the show, please visit buymeacoffee.com/thegravelride, where ratings and reviews are hugely appreciated. Until next time, here's to finding some dirt under your